Welcome to Mortgage Mom Wines, a weekly podcast with real and relatable talk and advice for real women. I'm your host, Megan. Grab your extra large coffee or glass of wine, no one is judging, and let's grow together. Welcome back to another episode of Mortgage Mom Wines. Today we are talking all things momming, all the things. So we're going to talk about, yes, the balancing act of thriving as a working mom. This is a topic I've been wanting to do a podcast on for a long time because it is one of the most talked about things amongst other fellow business women that I talk to, other moms, other groups I'm a part of. It is the juggling act. How do we do it all without losing our sanity or dropping our glass of wine, right? How do you manage juggling work, family, self-care, all the things? We've all seen those memes where like these women have like 8 arms and they're doing all the stuff. And how do you juggle it all? And I'm here to tell you that there is no right or wrong way. I'm not perfect by any means. I just want to get on here and share a few tips. And I wanted to do this episode to share what works for me. And if it can help you or help one person, or if you take a little nugget out of it that can make your life better or easier as a busy working mom. And even if you're not a mom, or even if you're not a working mom and you're a stay-at-home mom, hopefully some of these things I share that help me can help you. And I hope you'll be willing to comment and share some things that work for you, because I want to learn from all of you listeners out there what works for you as a working mom, because we're always looking for something to make our life easier. So there's a few things that I want to share, and something that helped me was automation. So we live in this world of technology and push button, get whatever, easy, right? That's what they say. But sometimes it can seem a little bit more overwhelming, all the technology and all the tools. And I wanted to share how setting some certain things on automation has saved me so much time. It frees up so much time for me to spend my free time with my family versus my free time doing things like grocery shopping or scheduling and planning and all the things. So automation is huge. Anything you can automate in your life, I would recommend doing so. Whether that is subscribing to something on Amazon Prime, let me tell you, Amazon Prime, love it or hate it, is amazing. There is a subscribe and save option on anything you order on Amazon Prime. For example, we go through household items, and as moms, usually it's our job to buy all these things. We're in charge of the grocery shopping and, you know, all the scheduling and the planning and all the things. So like, we know, and it sounds so silly and so stupid, but you go through things like toilet paper, paper towels, toothpaste, vitamins for all the kids, like, and yourself. Those are things we can set up on auto order. I even have, like, I go through a certain eyeliner pencil, like clockwork. Like I go through like 2 or 1 every couple of months. So every time I order something on Amazon, if it's something I order frequently, I set it up on what's called the subscribe and save. There's a button you can click that says subscribe and save. And now all of those things can show up at your doorstep at a time that you choose, whether that's every 4 weeks, every 6 weeks, every other month, once a quarter. That's something you can automate. It is just, and it seems so silly and so mundane, but it's one less thing as a mom you have to keep in your brain and you have to remember. Because there is so much up in our brains that we have to remember. So if we can get rid of one thing off our plate, and that's automating some deliveries, we should do that. So Amazon Prime is not a secret of a life hack, but it's something that I use frequently. And along with automation in Amazon Prime is Instacart and grocery pickup. As a working mom, or a mom in general, even if you're a stay-at-home mom or not even a mom at all, if you're just listening to this because you want some tips and tricks and life hacks, Instacart and grocery pickup has saved. COVID got one thing right, and it was that. So countless hours. I have the Instacart app on my phone, and as I'm going through my week, if I'm missing something in the house, like let's say we run out of, boy moms can relate to this. You run out of ketchup or ranch dressing. Why does every little boy go through ketchup and ranch dressing like it's water? I have no idea. But as we run out of things, I add it to my Instacart, my app on my phone daily. Like, hey, we're all out of this condiment. I'm going to add it to my grocery list. And then every Friday night, that's just when it's on my schedule to do so, I click the order button for groceries to be delivered Saturday morning. So that's just a little life hack I use to save time and also money, because yes, the Instacart app costs money, but a lot of stores have apps that are free and you can just do grocery pickup. So you can create your list all week long. So A, you're not forgetting anything. And B, you're not spending like an hour going through all of the cabinets and figuring out, oh my gosh, what do I need? We're low on this, we're out of this. Just do it throughout your week as you think about it. Don't procrastinate it. Put it in your cart, click the order button every weekend or every day that's your designated day for groceries or shopping or whatever. And now it's done. And you just swing by the store and pick it up. And not only does it save you a ton of time, but for me, it saves me money. Like this podcast is all about like financial literacy and tips to make our lives easier and just all kinds of practical things. And for me, not walking through the grocery store, especially when I'm hungry, saves me a ton of money. So I can't stress enough how important Amazon Prime, Instacart, and grocery store pickup apps are. If you don't have those on your phone, highly recommend. Make it a part of your routine to do that, and it will just save you hours and hours of time. So that's hours you can get back with your kids. Such a good way to save 2 hours shopping on a Saturday. And now take your kids to the park for 2 hours on a Saturday while someone else is grocery shopping for you and pick up the groceries on the way home. Priceless. Can't stress that enough. The second little thing, aside from automation, there's so much more automation you can do. Automated calendar scheduling, auto pay with your bills, just anything you can do to set up automation, I suggest doing it. But along with automation, I wanted to talk about planning and scheduling. Now, we've all heard the sentence, fail to plan, plan to fail. Super cliche, corny. I hate that saying, but at the same time, it's so true. And there's a reason people say it. So I can't stress enough, as a busy mom, busy working mom, busy person, I can't stress enough how important it is to plan and schedule not just your days, but your year. I read a fantastic book called The 12-Week Year. And I'm not going to get too much into it. I could probably do a whole podcast just on that book. If you haven't read The 12-Week Year, highly recommend. But basically, planning and scheduling are a huge part of that. So I like to have a 12-month calendar, and then obviously a single monthly calendar, weekly, and a daily as well. But the 12-month calendar is so important because I like to schedule out things well in advance that are really important to me. The third thing I wanted to talk about today was prioritizing. I'm going to kind of work it into this planning and scheduling because prioritizing is such a huge part of that. And I can't stress enough that when you are doing your schedule and creating your yearly plan, your monthly plan, your daily plan, how important it is to prioritize and schedule the family things first, then the work things, and also time for you. For me as a working mom, I choose to time block my calendar. You have to find what works for you. What works for me may not work for you, and what works for you might not work for me. But sharing what I do is time blocking my calendar. I go as far as to every family member in my household has a color. I color code the calendar to that family member. My son is blue, my daughter's pink, I'm purple, my husband is green. So we know when events are happening, who they're for, because they're color coded to that person. Now, you don't have to be as OCD as me. I'm well aware that I am A-type. I'm a control freak, which most of us working moms are, right? We have a lot to juggle. So can't stress enough the importance of scheduling and coding that kind of stuff. So I know if I have a super important trip or we have spring break or a family vacation or family holidays. Like if you have your family Christmas that you celebrate on a different day, those are things that need to go on the calendar first. Those are non-negotiables. To me, that is most important. That is what gets scheduled first, is that those family events. Then after that, as soon as you have an event come up, get it on your calendar. Don't procrastinate. And I know that's easier said than done, but if I get an email during the day of like, hey, I'm a part of my local chamber of commerce, which I'm sure many of you business people listening to this are, or moms, if you're on the school PTA, or if you are volunteering in the classroom, things like that, get those on your calendar, schedule those out, because then you can see how much time is in your day and you can plan, see what's left. This is just my opinion. And moms, and women in general, we tend to prioritize ourselves last. I can't stress the importance enough of scheduling your self-care. Whatever that looks like for you, self-care for you might be getting your nails done. I get my nails done every few weeks. It's just my high maintenance thing. I love it. It's my time. I sit there and get my nails done and listen to a podcast. That is my time. I schedule that on my calendar. I schedule things for me. Even I go as far as in the morning, I wake up an hour before my family, because that is my hour with my cup of coffee and my devotional time, my journaling time, meditation, whatever it is I need to do for that hour. Nobody's bothering me. That time is scheduled on my calendar and protected. And I can't stress the importance enough. There are 24 hours in a day. I know we all wish there were 25. But if you schedule yourself 1 hour and you're like, Megan, I don't know where I'm going to do that. I work 8 hours a day or 10 plus hours a day. I commute. I got to run the kids to all these things. Trust me, no one gets it more than I do. As working moms, we're basically glorified Uber drivers, right? We just drive these kids to all the activities and all the sports. But if that means you have to wake up a half an hour earlier to do your self-care for a half an hour, I can't stress enough how important that is. It will set your day up so much better, or even at night after the kids go to bed. Put it in your calendar for 9 p.m. from 9 to 9:30. You are going to turn off electronics and you are going to have some me time. Whether, that's giving yourself a manicure or taking a bath or doing whatever. It's so important to schedule and plan that. I even go as far too is to schedule on my calendar my meal prep, because I do that every Sunday for like an hour, whether that's, pre-packing lunches or picking up, there's a meal planning service that we use. Personally, my husband is a diabetic. And so we have a lot of dietary restrictions in my household. So we found this place. I found myself, when he was diagnosed with diabetes this past summer, found myself living in the kitchen. I was constantly chopping vegetables and just prepping all this food. And I was like, as a working mom, that does not work for me, right? I get some pre-made meals a couple times a week, and Costco cooks dinner, and we eat, pizza Fridays, whatever. I do not have time to cook 7 meals a week. So we found this place called Clean Eats. And every Sunday it's on my calendar to order this meal prep service for my husband for his lunches for the week. And we pick it up once a week. It's on the calendar. And that is one more thing off my plate that I don't have to do. I don't have to prep those meals or prep his lunches, because Clean Eats does it for me. And I actually did the math, and it's almost cheaper for them to do it. It's all fresh prepped food. So if you're local in the Chicago area, oh my gosh, I can't stress how amazing Clean Eats is if you love that for meal prep. But take the time to do it, because an hour or two spent on Sunday doing that, or Saturday or Friday, whatever day that is for you, is going to save you so much time and also money. You're not going to be as tempted to go through the Starbucks drive-through or go through the fast food drive-through when you have these things prepped and planned out. So put those meals on the calendar, put that time on the calendar to plan. Fail to plan, plan to fail. Cliche, but true. So take that time. I promise you won't regret it. You won't regret it. So again, I already touched on prioritizing. That was like my third thing, but prioritizing what works for you. You know, your family time, if family comes first, which for most people it does, I know for me it does. I plan my family events first, then I plan my work events around that, and then I plan my me time around that. But I always plan it. So can't stress enough the importance of prioritizing what matters. If you have a hard time setting boundaries like me, boundaries were really hard, and it's still really hard for me. I'm not sitting here telling you all I have perfect boundaries, because I don't. Like, no is not a word in my vocabulary 99% of the time. But if it's not serving you and it's not a priority for you, if it's not your family, your work, if it doesn't matter, don't be afraid to say no. And no is a complete sentence. You don't have to explain yourself. I really struggle with this. When I say no to something, I tend to feel really, really bad and have to over-explain myself. Like, oh no, I can't make it. I'm so sorry because I have A, B, and C. You don't need to do that. Other busy moms get it. So if you're prioritizing family, work, and yourself, and something doesn't fit into those categories that you've decided are your priorities, it is okay to say no. And I can't stress that enough. I'm going to end on that note. This is a super quick podcast this week. Next episode, you've got to tune in. I'm going to share my 3 biggest tips for doing all the things at work and in business, and things to like automate and make your work life easier. But today was all about momming and personal and how to make that. So automate your life as best you can. Plan and schedule around your priorities. Those are my tips and tricks for this week. If you have any more tips that you think would help another busy mom, share them in the comments, or share this podcast with somebody you think it could help. Definitely subscribe for more. We're going to talk even more in depth about these things, and I'm going to have more guests on here. So cheers to mastering the mom life balancing act, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you for listening. Follow this podcast for more real life and real talk with the occasional whining thrown in there. Red or white, the choice is yours. See you next episode. Cheers.